there are many use cases that are what I would consider to be business to consumer. You've got, beauty and wellness, which could be beauty salons. You've got educational institutions who are, increasingly during COVID, for example, they were creating appointments for their professors to meet with students, for example. Obviously, class scheduling is another sort of use case, but the one-to-one use case there. Financial services, banks, credit unions, and others. It could include individual financial people, could be financial planners or people to do mortgage lending. Fitness is a big one because obviously classes, and of course that became difficult during COVID. But what was interesting about fitness is that Google, and I'll talk about Reserve with Google later, actually modified their system to allow businesses to offer virtual appointments, which they never were going to do. They were only going to allow you to do physical appointments. So, we see that in a lot of industries where what was, I would call, a nice to have feature for appointment scheduling in business to consumer became a must have. Also in financial services, there are many banks and credit unions right around when COVID started that basically realized they could not open up their lobbies and their offices without sort of slotting people in. They would let you come in, but only allowing, say, one or two people during a time period, for example. So, I think the technology was there and it was ready, and then it got a really good opportunity to be used during that time. Whether it goes back to the way it was, we don't know, but I think a lot of things are changed irrevocably, and I'd like to get some thoughts on that. We also see, obviously, services like, people coming to fix things at your house, which includes a travel component as well as appointment scheduling or booking. And there are others, but the idea here is that each of these consumer spaces, if you will, is really impacted by appointment scheduling. And then we have on the other side the B2B, which is the professional services. A lot of you who do consultancies, for example, for marketing, for sales, a lot of consulting to B2B companies or maybe B2C. And you're using individual solutions for setting up meetings, but also within those companies, you see this is an integrated part of lead generation, as well as things like recruiting as special use cases. So there's actually some really good, solid use cases, but there are a lot of them. So in the B2C side, as I said, you see a lot of verticals that are, a person who used to maybe go into a physical location, and maybe they still will, but it will be virtualized, promoting this booking link on their website, through their emails, social media. Facebook is an example. They might integrate that with a CRM solution. So part of the issue here, though, is that you've got other systems involved, and that's one of the reasons why this is an interesting business, because you may decide to do a best of breed solution, but then you have to integrate that with workflows of other solutions. So you're seeing essentially some companies offer a complete solution, and others that offer a sort of horizontal solution. A lot of verticals that are more industrial, if you will, they promote scheduling, but it also may be for demos. But a lot of this is sales enablement. In other words, setting up meetings with you oftentimes will have a business development rep call you or email you. I'm sure you've all experienced this, or you're setting this up for your own companies, and their entire job is really to schedule a meeting with an account executive, for example. But then also the people in that company always have a link in their email or in their signature that says, hey, if you ever want to talk with me. I think that the complications on the B2B side oftentimes come from having to have multiple people involved or people with specific skills. I can think of many examples where there's a call being set up and you want to have the account exec, but we also need the specialist for this product area who knows about this kind of business loan or who knows about this particular product line of our company. That gets really tricky because either the system has to know that and have that built into the rules, or the person has to manually kind of do that, which sort of defeats the purpose, if you will. So that's where it gets really interesting. And all of these things are solved, by the way, by a lot of these companies. But again, a lot of it has to do with how you are defining your problem.